Wake up! Wake up! Sorry guys, I had to do it. Chandler Riggs is definitely going through puberty. Anyway, with that being said, hey guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another TV episode review. Guys, it's time to get excited. The Walking Dead is back on AMC. That's right, guys. We had that long winter break. Felt like a long winter break, if you ask me, especially after that mid-season finale. And now the show is back, guys. They are airing the final 8 episodes of The Walking Dead Season 4 for the next few weeks. So they aired Season 4, Episode 9 tonight. I just watched the episode about a half hour ago, and here I am with my review for you guys. Going to give you my thoughts, going to discuss the episode. And yeah, guys, so I reviewed the final episodes of Breaking Bad last year. I reviewed the first 8 episodes of Season 4 of The Walking Dead last year as well. And I think most of you guys have liked my TV episode review, so I'm going to be bringing them back. I'm going to be reviewing the final episodes of The Walking Dead, so I hope you guys enjoy them. And yeah, guys, so the show's back. I'm excited. I got my Walking Dead t-shirt on. You know I'm a big fan of the show, especially with the way that mid-season finale ended. You know I couldn't wait for the show to come back on. So yeah, guys, tonight's episode was Season 4, Episode 9. The title was After. I am going to completely review and discuss the whole entire episode. So yeah, obviously, guys, there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, if you've been watching the Olympics, or if you were watching True Detective, that new show on HBO, that's cool. Just watch the episode, then come back and watch my review. So guys, the first thing I'm going to start off doing is I'm going to discuss the story of the episode. And as I'm discussing, I'm going to analyze several parts, several plot points, and several things that are going on with the characters. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on the episode, and I'm also going to give my predictions for anything that could happen in the next few weeks in the final episodes of the season. So guys, tonight's episode, of course, it's the episode after the mid-season finale, and as we all know, so much happened in that mid-season finale. That is without a doubt one of my favorite episodes in Walking Dead history. It was just emotionally satisfying. It was emotionally heartbreaking. It was action-packed with that prison break-in that we were finally all waiting for, and that was a very satisfying mid-season finale. Now we're dealing with the after effects of it, because not only Herschel and the governor died in that mid-season finale, but the one other thing that died in that mid-season finale was the prison. That's right, guys, the prison is gone, and a lot of you are actually happy about that. A lot of you are happy that the group has finally moved on from the prison. I know a lot of people were getting antsy. They were like, oh, I'm getting tired of seeing the prison. I personally liked the prison. Was it getting a little boring and repetitive, the episodes? Not really, but in my opinion. But now they're moving on. They're going to have to find some other kind of safe haven. So that's actually going to be kind of interesting to see what they're going to find. You know, I like that mystery of when they go into like an empty or abandoned house. You don't know what they're going to find, if there's going to be any people in there, going to be walkers in there. So I do like that aspect of the show, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, guys, tonight's episode starts off with the remnants of the prison. You see the prison completely torn up. It's kind of, you know, hard to watch the prison actually, you know, be subject to zombies now, because there's nothing but zombies crawling all around the courtyard of the prison. A whole influx of them have arrived, and you see the tank in smoke and in flames, and everybody has left the prison except for one. That was Michonne. Michonne has actually, I believe she came back, and she's just looking at the destruction of the prison. And we get one shot in the beginning of the episode that I really liked, and a lot of people were asking this question. A lot of people were like, is the governor really dead? Did Lily really shoot him in the head? And yes, she did, because we get one shot of the governor's dead body and the bullet hole right in the center. So yes, the governor is dead. I loved him. He was a great antagonist. I know it's odd for me to say that. I liked him as an antagonist for the show. After he killed Herschel, though, did the bastard deserve to die? Yes, he did. But anyway, so Michonne not only sees, you know, and comes across all these walkers, but another big thing that she sees tonight, and I kind of predicted this. I felt this could possibly happen. She sees the head of Herschel, and she takes her katana, and, you know, it takes her a while to really stab Herschel in the head, because you see his reanimated head. He's now a zombie, the head, because Governor cut the head off. The brain's still there, so that's why he reanimated and turned. So that was kind of cool and, you know, upsetting at the same time, because now Herschel is dead. So Michonne stabs the head, gets 2 of her own walker pets, and has to leave the prison. She gets 2 new walker pets, I should say. And tonight's episode, guys, only focuses on Michonne, Rick, and Carl. So we have no clue as of tonight's episode what's going on with Glenn, Daryl, Maggie, Tyrese, Bob Stuckey. They're all on their own. We will see what happens to them in next week's episode. But tonight's episode focuses only on Rick, Carl, and Michonne, and they are all separate right now. Rick is with Carl. Michonne is by herself with her walker pets. And when the episode first opens on Rick and Carl, you can tell that both of them are not only frustrated, they're torn down from the prison battle. Carl especially is just completely pissed off. At first, you don't know why or who he's upset at, rather. But at some point in the middle of the episode, you're aware of who he's frustrated with, and I'll get to that in a second. But Rick is not only emotionally torn down that his safe haven is gone. I mean, we all know how crazy Rick was with the prison. He would do anything for the prison, and he did. In the end, the governor snap lost his shit, and that is why the prison is now dead to them. And now that safe haven is gone, and now, to be honest, these characters are now scared because they now have to face this real world. Because for the past season and a half, they were safe. They were behind these prison gates. They honestly had that feeling of safety, but now they don't, so now they got to go out there and find some new shelter, and that's really tough. So Rick is not only emotionally torn, but he's also physically beaten up because the governor did a job on him. That's all I could say. His face is messed up. He's having trouble breathing some parts of the episode, and Rick, if there were hospitals, he would definitely need one, but unfortunately there aren't, so Rick is kind of on his own here with Carl. So Rick and Carl stumble across a bar on the roadside, get some supplies, and then they come across this neighborhood, and they find this actually very large house. They go inside, they clear it out, no one is in, so they take the house for themselves as their new shelter for the time being, because Rick, honestly, he's really even having trouble walking. That's how beat up he is. His face has got gashes all over it. His body, his ribs, they're all bruised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got some broken ribs or bones or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So, Rick has obviously got to rest, and you can still tell Carl's frustrated, most likely with him. I'll get to that. And you can tell because Carl throws up Shane at some point in the episode, and I'm like, oh boy, Carl, don't go there. And Carl, this episode really did focus mainly on Carl because Rick is kind of injured. He's resting on a couch for most of the episode in this house that they found. So Rick is kind of out of it for this episode. He's kind of in a comatose state for most of the episode. So this episode does focus mainly on Carl. It shows Carl's frustration, why he's pissed off at the current circumstances, and if you're a fan of Carl, I guess you'll like this episode. If not, you won't. But anyway, so after we see Rick and Carl in this new house, and it's nighttime, we cut back to Michonne, and this is probably my favorite part of the episode, honestly. We see Michonne has this sort of 3-layered dream sequence, right? She's like sleeping on a car, and she has this crazy 3-layered dream sequence, right? And I love this scene because it not only shows Michonne's past, but it answers a few questions I had regarding Michonne and her past and her character itself. So we see Michonne in a house, very expensive, rich-looking house, actually. So Michonne actually had, money, I guess, before this crap all hit the fan. And she's with two men are in her house at the dinner table. She's like cooking up dinner. She's got her katana, which I thought was crazy. And the 2 men, one of them is her boyfriend. The other, I'm assuming, is a friend or a family relative. I guess a brother or something. I'm not entirely sure who that other guy was. But she's talking with them, having a conversation with them. This is before the apocalypse broke out. And we see a little kid running in the house, and the kid runs up towards the boy and jumps into Michonne's arms. And I love this part of the episode because it answered that question that arrived in the show when Michonne had a hard time picking up baby Judith in that one episode in season 4. Forget what episode it was. And she started crying. She had a hard time holding the baby. We now know that Michonne did have a son before all this broke out. I'm assuming he was turned into a walker, and or he was killed or turned into a walker, one of the two. She lost her son, and that's why it was hard for her to pick up Judith. So she did have a really important past life. You know, she hasn't always been this, this like lone survivor. She hasn't always been on her own, fending for herself. Even before the apocalypse broke out, she had people that she loved in her life, and she lost all that too. So she's holding in all that emotion, you know, and she really, for the rest of this episode, she breaks down a lot in this episode. So that's another thing I enjoyed, seeing that transition of Michonne's character and seeing Michonne's past in this dream sequence. So again, in the rest of the dream sequence, you see like the clothes of the two guys in her house that, you know, they change. You see them all torn. You see the outside view of Atlanta go from really nice, bright, and cheery to all that crap. And you can tell Atlanta is in the middle of the apocalypse during this crazy dream sequence. And you can also, you see in another shot, the arms of her boyfriend and the other guy, they're both cut off. You can tell that those two guys are Michonne's original two pet walkers. Apparently, she was with them in this survivors group. This is, you know, she's talking to herself later on in the episode. And, they both died, and they both turned into walkers. She used them as her pet walkers. That's why it was kind of hard for her to let them go when she did stab them and kill them in early season 3, even though she just did it like that. What was I going to say? And, of course, she obviously lost her son, but her son is nowhere to be found. Her son's disappeared. But, anyway, so Michonne wakes up from that, very hard for her. And the rest of her journey, I'm just going to explain what happened for her the rest of the episode. She's walking with the walkers, her new pet walkers, and, you know, she sees like a double of herself, another Michonne-ish zombie. And a zombie that looks like Michonne, I should say. And she just freaks out, slices a bunch of whole zombie heads. She just kills a whole bunch of zombies and continues on trying to find the other group members, I guess. So I liked Michonne's part of this episode a lot more than I liked the part that focused on Carl. So getting back to Rick and Carl, I will discuss a little bit about Michonne, a little more about Michonne towards the end. But getting back to Carl and Rick, Rick is like in this complete comatose state, as I said. That's why Carl was in the beginning yelling, "Wake up! Wake up!" Because there's the zombies at the door of the house that's bolted in. You know, they tied the door up. And, so Carl leaves the house, leaves Rick, which wasn't the smartest thing to do, but, you know, I guess the door was barricaded, so why not? Carl leaves the house again, because Carl can never stay in a freaking house. He's always got to leave the house. I don't know why, but he leaves the house, and Carl almost gets himself killed twice in this episode, and that's why I was like, oh, God, Carl, please, please, no, Carl, just, oh, boy. I was like, you know, I liked Carl in the first season, I guess. Season 2, I don't know, I couldn't stand the kid for some reason. Season 3, I was like, yeah, he's redeeming himself. This episode, not really. I don't know, especially the beginning of the episode, I was like, Carl, what are you doing? You're getting yourself killed here. You can't survive without Rick. And that leads me to talk about another point in the episode. Carl is very frustrated with Rick, and Rick is, when he's in that comatose state at night, Carl starts yelling at him and, you know, explaining his grief and his frustration at Rick, even though Rick can't hear him because he's completely comatose. And he basically blames Rick for everything, saying, oh, you're the reason why, you know, everyone's dead. Herschel's dead. You're the reason why the prison is gone because you just stood back and you acted like a farmer or whatever he is. Carl's just completely venting. And you're the reason why Lori's dead, Mom's dead, whatever, however he says it. And I'm like, Carl, just stop, shut up. I understand why he's frustrated. I understand both of them are frustrated. How could you not be frustrated? You just lost that immense safe haven that is now, it's gone. You're not going to get it back. So I understand Carl's just kind of grieving here. I get it. But just still the way he's talking to Rick and the way he's just diverting to his old disrespectful ways. Damn it, Carl. But anyway, so that's why Rick's very frustrated. He even says at one point, you know what, you'd be better off dead to Rick while he's sleeping. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go, Carl. So anyway, getting back to the fact that Carl was almost killed twice. That's right, twice. Come on, Carl, really? He's trying to get these 2-3 zombies away from the house. He almost gets killed. Miraculously gets out of the situation, shoots them all, and then goes on a supply run to try to get food, and goes into this house, almost gets killed again, and this time I was like, for sure this zombie's gonna bite him. I mean, he's on the ground, the zombie, like, you know, tackles him, he, like, shoots him, but he, like, shoots up in the air, he, like, falls down, and he was gonna shoot at the zombie, and he just starts shooting up in the air. I'm like, Carl, what the hell are you doing? what is wrong with you? This is why you need Rick. This is why you can't survive on your own. But anyway, that was kind of funny, actually. So Carl narrowly escapes getting bitten, locks this zombie in this room, but the zombie almost bit its leg. I was actually surprised they didn't just go all the way, because it looked like the zombie was going to bite it, but in another cut, it looked like Carl just inched away miraculously. So, anyway, Carl made it out, lost his shoe, and did pick up some more food, goes back to Rick, and yeah, so I don't know, what can I say about Carl? And he keeps saying the phrase over and over again in the episode, I win, I'm win. I'm like, Carl, you stop stealing Heisenberg's line, damn it. Heisenberg's the only one who could say that. But anyway, that's pretty much what happens. That's pretty much the whole part of the story that focuses on Carl. So again, it's another night. Carl is in the house with Rick. Yeah, he actually went back to the house. At one point in the episode, I thought he was going to leave Rick. He had like the sack, but he went on the supply run actually. And he's up at night, and Rick starts like twitching or something. You know, I forget what happens. Rick falls off the couch, freaks Carl out. Carl thinks Rick has turned. You know, it's a very dark scene, and Rick can't see. Carl can't see Rick's face, so Carl thinks, "Oh crap, this is over." Pulls out his gun, and I swear to God, I knew they wouldn't do it, but had Carl shot Rick, thinking Rick was a zombie, I would have just been done. Okay, I would have been done, but he didn't. He's like, "I can't do it." He throws the gun on the floor, and thank God he didn't do it, because Rick has not turned. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't have the balls to do it, and I understand that is his father, even though he tore apart his father while he was asleep. He's just frustrated, really, at this point. And he says, I can't do it. And it turns out Rick is not a zombie, as we all knew. He's just having a lot of trouble breathing. You know, he's got a lot of chest problems because of that fight with the governor, and that's why, what was I going to say? That's why Rick, you know, has just been out of it in the last few days. So Rick, like, holds his hand up, and he's like, "It's Carl, don't go out of the house." I love how he said that line. Anyway, so now it's the next morning, and Rick and Carl are kind of like having like this kind of heart-to-heart discussion. Rick kind of admits to Carl, I know it's going to be hard to put all these pieces back together. I know it's hard that we just lost the prison. That's basically what he's saying. But, yeah, it is going to be hard, definitely, to put everything back together. And, you know, Carl just kind of admits to Rick in one scene in the episode, you know, I'm scared. And you could tell he's obviously scared. He's angry, not really at Rick, at the fact that everything is now gone. And I guess he just needed to take it out on Rick at that point. He just got to let all of that out. You know, it happens to everyone. So, Rick and Carl are on their own for most of the end of the episode, and Michonne actually finds a set of footprints and is on Rick and Carl's trail. In the very end of the episode, Michonne arrives at that neighborhood, and apparently the first house she gets to, of course, is the house that Rick and Carl are staying in. She looks through the window, sees that they are both alive, and knocks on the door, and Rick sees that it's Michonne in the end, is very happy and relieved, and that's how the episode ends. So, overall, guys, I enjoyed the episode. I didn't love it entirely. I was a little upset with it, the fact that it was a little slow running, you know. Took a while to get going. A few scenes were upsetting, you know. Definitely had a problem with that. This episode wasn't very, you know, fast-paced. It was very slow in a few scenes, and nothing really exciting happened, even though it was still interesting to see what they were doing with this Rick and Carl relationship, how just Carl's just frustrated with his dad, scared and confused, really. And it's interesting to see what's going on with Rick, because Rick really does need some help at this point. You know, he is kind of, he's very damaged, let's just say that much. And it was also, while I did have a problem with Carl's storyline in the episode, I did enjoy seeing Michonne's. I really loved seeing Michonne's past, seeing Michonne break down in one scene where she just kills a whole bunch of walkers. That was actually pretty freaking cool, and I like them going into Michonne's past, developing her character a bit more, and letting us know that she did have a past life, and, you know, there was you know, a lot of crap did happen to her, and she is definitely damaged as well in this apocalypse. So it's the weight of the prison, the loss of the prison, and the weight of her past life catches up to her, and that's why it made her break down in her scene. So I like that part of the story. Other than that, the Rick and Carl one was okay, a little slow, but still overall entertaining. So guys, I'm going to rate tonight's episode as an 8 out of 10. It was good, wasn't great. Obviously, it did not match the awesomeness of the mid-season finale, but it was still pretty good. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with next week's episode, but tonight's episode, overall, I enjoyed it. Had a few problems with the slow-ish story, but I rolled with it. Also did have a few problems with Carl's character. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me we're going back to season 2 Carl, where he doesn't listen and he doesn't stay in the house. I know he's doing this all to survive, but I was impressed that Carl admitted that he was just scared in the end of the episode, so I'm like, okay, alright, but I want to see Carl maturing better. That's all I really want to say about that. So yeah, guys, that's really it with tonight's episode. So I liked the scene with Michonne killing the walkers. I liked the fact that they are moving from house to house. Actually, I really like that part of the episode. They're not just stuck at the prison, which I like the prison, but I like the fact, the mystery of going into an empty house. You never know what you're going to find. So I like that part of The Walking Dead, because that really is what happens in a zombie apocalypse now. You're out there, you're struggling to survive, you're struggling to find shelter, and you never know what you're going to find. So I like that part of the episode. I like how they're going into that with this story now that the prison is gone. But anyway, guys, yeah, so overall 8 out of 10 for me. Predictions for next week. I really don't have too many predictions, actually. I know we're going to see next week. They're not going to show, I don't think they're going to show Rick, Carl, and Michonne. I think they're going to just show the rest of the prison group. That's Daryl, Glenn, Maggie, Bob, Stookie, Tyrese, Sasha, all of them, the kids, and we're finally going to find out what happened to baby Judith. So I'm still got all those questions, though, so that was another thing that upset me. What happened to baby Judith? What happened to the rest of the prison group? Hopefully that'll all be answered next week. So thank you guys for watching my review. Let me know what you thought of the episode down below in the comments, guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. And let me know what you think is going to happen on next week's episode. I think we are going to get a little bit more action. I think we're going to get some answers to what happened to Judith. And also, I want to know what's going on with Carol. You know, where is Carol right now? I hope she's not just done with the show, alright? What do you guys think about that? And also, when do you guys think Morgan is going to come back on the show? Because he's supposed to come back in Season 4, the final few episodes. So, let me know, guys, what you thought of the whole episode. Let me know what you thought. What you think is going to happen in the final 7 episodes of Season 4. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys.